I absolutely have challenges every single day, but it's practicing the same way it's called meditation practice, the same way it's called practicing gratitude. Every day it's a practice, and practice doesn't make perfect. We've been told a lie. Messi still misses penalties. He's pretty good at football, right? So it's practice makes permanent. It's a permanent standard that I have for myself to acknowledge what I'm feeling. I'm wondering why I'm feeling that and how I can maybe bring in some more helpful beliefs to change that feeling. That's all it is. So if you have an unhelpful belief around yourself, just know it's going to be okay. It's going to pass. What's a more helpful belief? Not false positivity. I'm not into that whatsoever. You don't dance around your garden going, there's no weeds, right? Those weeds are going to take your garden. Instead, you just go, right, this is how I'm feeling today. I need to deal with my reality today, and tomorrow might be a bit brighter. It might be a bit better.
Being present, right? There's a lot of that. You're making time to stop, having a positive chat with yourself, being present, and then taking the next action that's good for you. Is that hard to do from an ADHD point of view? And the reason why I ask that is that you've practiced that from a young Adam. You've got the perspective and maturity now to do that. Is that something that someone listening could be like, I don't know how to do that? You mentioned earlier, 1 step, 2 step, and just start. Is it just about building those habits? Because you're proving it, you're doing it. You did that yesterday, you stopped, I'm going to have a nap and so on. I'm just wondering your combined experience of people that would be like, I don't know how to do that.
Adam, I've met a lot of people. 22 years I've been working in ADHD. I've met a lot of people across the world. You are pretty unique in your grasp of your own situation. And
so that discipline that he's got, but that's aspirational as well, right?
That's exactly my point. Is to answer your question, I think it's bloody difficult for people with ADHD to get to where you've got to. And I think the core group of people that we're talking about, people with ADHD, let's say young men with ADHD, every young man I've met with ADHD, I've never met one who's got a grasp on their own emotions, their own vulnerability as much as you. And that's where you're able to articulate it and build a successful career. That entrepreneurial skill that you've shown is a flair and partly driven from the positives of your ADHD, but harnessing it. So what I think our mutual responsibility here is 2 things. I keep using this word every time we talk, but rid this of shame. Totally rid this of shame and be prepared to explore that vulnerability. And you're offering a lot to the C-suite of people, coaching them and what have you. I really would like to work with you with the middle-aged, the young men, male community, because suicide in men is incredibly high. No one's saying suicide in men with ADHD is incredibly high, but that's the message that we could start to actually look at, because there's an increased vulnerability, there's an increased sensitivity, there's an increased set of outcomes here. And what you're portraying is it's okay to be vulnerable as long as you take progressive steps to deal with that vulnerability. Don't patronize anyone. It's okay to be vulnerable. We're all vulnerable. That's patronizing nonsense.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
You're talking about, and these are positive steps that we can take to slowly learn how to deal with our vulnerability. For the first is acceptance, isn't it? Yeah. And then deal with it to turn that to not a strength, because it's a weakness. It's not a strength, but you can turn it into something that you can live with. Let's go back to Dan and the conversations we had with Dan. Dan's an amazing professor we met with in another program. He said, we're always going to have cancer because we've got multiple cells. If you've got multiple cells, you're going to have cancerous cells. Fact of life. We're always going to be vulnerable. We're always going to feel vulnerability. So we've got to get better at actually coping. And our ADHD community is not going to do that on its own. No. That's your point.
You need role models. You need people with the lived experience. But then what I love about Adam is he's got the lived experience, but then he can also have that perspective of all sorts of different people that come into his world as a coach. Yeah. And actually I love the fact that what you struggled with, you now help people with. That must feel fulfilling. That must give you proper purpose.
It's amazing, because the thing is, the problem isn't men talking. Loads of men talk. It's that men get fixed when they talk, so they're reluctant to do so, or they get punished when they talk. When I talked about my levels of depression and anxiety, my partner left. When I talked about that, I got forced out of my job. When I talked about that, all my friends left. No one wanted to be around the big guy that's, in touch with his emotions. Yeah. I remember leaving, when I got pushed out of my job, walking down the street, walking down Leeds High Street in floods of tears. People looked at me like I had an axe. They were like, oh my God, don't go near him.
You just don't see it though.
No. When there's a problem with women, generally it's a society issue and we need to fix it. When there's a problem with a man, it's a man problem and you have to fix it yourself. And, you know, it's not that I'm anti-women, far from it. That's not the point here at all. It's that I'm an advocate for women, I'm an advocate for men, I'm an advocate for people. We have to just get better at listening, and we have to get better at holding the space. And that space is only held, as it were, or created with emotional safety. And that emotional safety comes from listening and asking more questions. What do you need from me in this moment? That's it. You don't have to go, oh, mate, don't worry about it. You know, there's plenty more fish in the sea. That's what I got when I went through my breakup. What does that mean? I'm not bothered about the other fish. I love that fish. I don't want that fish back, right? So talking about all the other fish is absolutely irrelevant to me right now, because that's not the pain I'm experiencing. Had I had a friend at the time just go, mate, you know what, this is okay, and this will pass, but I'm here for you. And if you ever need me, just ring me. I had maybe 1, 2 people like that, as well as my family, of course. So yeah, it's not the fact that men won't speak, it's that we fix people and we tell them that they're going to be all right, when in reality sometimes they just need to sit with a friend, or sometimes they just need to be reassured.
You've already said it, but the articulation is amazing. I'm also conscious that there's like a tribe forming amongst everything we're doing. Again, lived experience and articulation, it's golden for anyone watching this.
It absolutely is. And I believe we've put ourselves under a responsibility to try and bring more awareness of this. And you've inspired me today, without a shadow of a doubt, for every young man with ADHD who will be struggling with their vulnerability, struggling to understand themselves, masking, making those behaviours. Let's stop people feeling they've got to hide. Let's stop people.
Awareness is great, action's better. So ADHD Action is a project, for example, you could create, you know, and go, right, what are we going to do about it? Because being aware of it doesn't really do anything. You know, talk doesn't cook rice. You have to make sure we're doing something, and it is step by step. And it is the self-esteem can be built so quickly by following through with what you said you were going to do. But that commitment I'm looking for today is getting outside for 10 minutes, and it's drinking more water and it's eating healthier. Can we do that? That's all we need, and then we can build slowly.